Hello, blessed soul family, and welcome to our first quarter moon reading. Today, we are talking about taking action. What do you need to take action on? What area of your life needs some attention? What do you have to get motivated on? This spring, especially right now in real time in April 2022, this is such a wonderful time to really, plant those seeds, set those intentions, for the rest of the year. What do you want to see happen? What needs to change? There's just so many things that have been coming through. There are 3 feathers before you, 3 piles before you. And I got this really strong feeling from Spirit that it was going to be, I don't know if I'd use the term aggressive, but I definitely felt like this was going to be some intensive therapy. As I was pulling the cards for each pile, I felt like there were like 5 scenarios going on in some of the piles. Do you know what I mean? So if you are listening to it, or if you listen to the whole pile and it doesn't resonate with you, it's probably not your pile. But if you're drawn to all 3, by all means, go check them out. Who knows? We're all in different places in our lives, and we're all acting and working and existing from different levels of consciousness. So with that being said, I'm going to dive right into this. We're going to be reading from the book today. So welcome to the Bird Messengers. I thought it was only appropriate to bring some feathers forward. These are feathers actually from our chickens on the farm that I live. So without further ado, starting from left to right, we have pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. And I'm even going to give you like a little close-up so you can get, so you can really see the feather. Now these could be from the chickens or the rooster. So that's pile number 1. It's okay if it falls. Pile number 2. Ooh, pile number 3 is getting shaky, getting jiggy with it. That's okay. So this is pile number 2. And I have to tell you, this is the one that I was getting like so many messages from. It was intense. And I don't normally do that, but I'm going to say that right now. And then pile number 3. I think this is from my Henny Penny. I call her Henny Penny. She's so cute. She has a twin sister. And the only way you can tell the difference of them is by their butts. By the feathers on their butts. It's the cutest thing. So I call her Henny Penny and Henny's sister. Because Henny Penny is she's very sentient. She talks. Since she was a baby, we've just had this connection. But her sister, she's kind of quiet. She doesn't really say much. She looks just like her, but interesting. They're very different. So, are you pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3? More than one pile? Whichever. Doesn't matter. Please find all the timestamps in the description box below. Also in the description box, you'll find there's always like little Easter eggs, as my birthday sister Taylor Swift says, for things that Spirit wants you to look up on your own. It also has my email address if you'd like to purchase a recorded reading, or if you'd like to do a one-on-one session. And also it has all of my information to donate to the channel, to contribute to this work. So thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. Like I said, it's all in the description box below, and I will see you over at your pile. Blessed be. Oh. First quarter moon. What do you need to take action on, pile number 1? So welcome. Let's grab your cards. Okay. I haven't seen them, so I'm just as excited as you are. And I laid your feather down because it was having a hard time staying up. So that could be something that's going on with you guys. I'm going to pull back 2 and 3 a little bit so we can have some breathing room here. Okay, so what card do you want to... Is there any messages at all, Spirit? I'm going to... Let's see. We're connecting with pile number 1. Before we pull any cards, I'm feeling like something wants to come through, or somebody wants to come through. I'm also getting this really awful, like almost feels like a sharp pain on the right side of my back. Feels like the upper side of my back. It almost feels like a rod in there too, like just like really stiff. So I'm hearing from Spirit, it's time to stretch. It's time to stretch. Have you ever seen the Molly Shannon skit, the I'm 50? And she's like, I'm 50 years old, and I can kick and stretch. I'm 50. So it doesn't matter how old you are, but it does matter if you are stretching. This has got to be the most wild background spirits ever. I mean, there's just so much going on. There's pattern here, and my fabric underneath. Then there's the feather pattern here. There's the feathers themselves. Then we've got flowers, mandalas. Like there's just so much coming through. So I'm feeling like creativity for all of us, actually, all of us. This, like I said, this is the time for us to plant seeds. This is where we're starting. This is it. If not now, when? Of course, there are some seeds that you can plant throughout the year that will, bear fruit before the end of the year. But right now, I'm feeling like the most important, like, what are you going to want the most in the fall? What do you need to set an intention for now? Is there something specific? Is it a home? Is it a new job? Is it a mate? Friends? Community? What is it? There's something that I feel like is missing for you guys. And the only person that can help that is you. So as you see before you, this is actually my calendar from last year. So I'm going to say that there's something in 2021. If there's something that's been like really, really like, niggling your brain, in your belly, something that's been calling for you, like since 2021, I'm hearing like, this is it. No more fucking around, no more bullshit, no more, oh, maybe next year, blah, blah, blah. Spirit saying, this is it. This is your window. And, I don't like to put time frames or any type of like, I don't like that because I believe in my heart of hearts that everything happens for a reason. However, I'm going to go dark for a little bit. However, sometimes we have to go into these intricate parts of ourselves and pull out the parts of us. It's usually the parts of us that we quote unquote fear most, reject most, don't like about ourselves the most, are usually our greatest assets. And a lot of times people in our lives tell us that they're not our greatest assets, that they're not good for us, that they're, you know what I'm saying? And Spirit's saying it depends on who you're talking to, right? So don't let others' view of you dim your light. And if you notice, we've got darkness and we've got like, if you look at the colors here, we've got, it's kind of dark here and then light here and then dark, right? It's like, I kind of feel like this is you and your world. There's a lot of darkness around you and you're in here trying to stay in the light. And if you notice, this is actually, these two are coloring books. They're mandala coloring books. So if you've, I know there's no accidents. Oh my gosh, look at that. I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. What? I do have an adjustable lamp, but do you see how like things are like starting to get more light and more bright as it's adjusting to the light? That's how you guys are. It's like for some of you, I feel like you're coming out of the shadow and you've been in the shadow too long. So whether it's the people around you are in shadow and you need to, stay more in this light right here, or it could just be that you yourself have been going through like the dark night of the soul or working with your shadow side. Now I'm feeling like the cards want to come through. Okay, so the first one that we got, let me see. I don't know if they want me, I don't know how they want me to do this. So I'm just going to do as I'm told. So for now, I'm going to switch this up a little bit. Okay, we'll see what happens. Ooh, Creature fell into the mix. This is Creature, by the way. And since he fell in, I'm going to bring him in. And he's just a fun little character that this woman, I'm going to set this aside for a second. But long story short, in the 70s, this woman used to draw this character all the time, and her friends and family were always like, oh, and I'm paraphrasing. I believe this is the story. And so she actually brought it to life, and she said it never had a name. It was just called Creature. And she had, decals and little stuffed animals and whatever. And so actually, let me see what year is on here because it could mean something to you guys. So 1979, and it says Mary. Oh, there's her name, Mary Lee McCormick. So you may want to research her, Mary Lee McCormick. Also 1979, so that can mean something to you. But it says Guardian Creature. And I feel like that's, call on your guardians, call on those who, want to help you. And if you doodle and draw and you think it's nothing, it could actually be the answer to your millions of dollars. I mean, do you think anybody ever thought that we'd be using, I love emojis, right? Like emojis, like emoticons, right? Things that are like showing our emotion. That's all Creature's doing. That's all Creature's doing. He's showing his smiley face, you know? He's just showing his little smiley face. So the first card you pulled is the Bearded Vulture. And let me bring this candle over. So I want you guys to be able to see this. Okay, so it says, let outward deeds and words match inner feelings. So what does that mean to you? Bearded Vulture. I'm going to see if they want to pull any more before we go. Okay, no. So they're asking me to read from the book. So I'm going to get my glasses. Hold on. Okay, so also when I looked down, it was 1049. So look up angel number 1049 or just 149. The 0 actually has value when you're looking up angel numbers, so I'll let you decide on your own. So the Bearded Vulture says, fragrant is the land where magical vulture passes, for she purifies and transforms it by consuming the dead. Vulture, also known as lammergeier, fragments huge bones by dropping them from high rocks so that she may dine on them, and such is her wizardry that they melt within the potent cauldron of her stomach, becoming her vital energy. The dead are brought again to life in Vulture's own form. Vulture bathes in iron-rich spring waters and dusts herself in Earth's iron-rich soil, transforming her rich, creamy feathers to gorgeous rusty red, and thus her inner transformative nature matches her outward form. Let me see if we can go in there a little bit. Yeah. So it says, if Vulture, I'm going to go down a little bit there. If Vulture has glided from the high thermals into your cards today, she counsels you to be what you... This person, it's interesting the way they speak, because, you know, people use, you know, commas and periods and things like that, the way they speak. So I'm going to try and redo this, but it's a very interesting way they've put this together. So it says, if Vulture has glided from the high thermals into your cards, comma, she counsels you, comma, to be what you seem. In love, this is the moment to wear your heart upon your sleeve. In life, to speak truly of the things that matter to you. And that makes sense, because when I was feeling this, like, kind of, you know, let's get back in. Well, it's okay that you could see the mandalas. You know, but this is really powerful, because that's what I was just saying earlier about the colors, right? And about how you're kind of in between this darkness. Well, that makes so much sense with what she says, right? Because you need to speak of the things that matter to you. I'm getting this vibe like you guys are allowing other people to stop you from, you know, that's why I was like, why would Creature want me to do that? But it's like, yeah, it's like somebody's stopping you from speaking, from being your true self and speaking your truth. It's either one person or it's a multitude of people, because I have the chills all over my body right now. Also, I'm getting this like from the witches, like, sweep it out of there. Who cares? You know, they don't have any right to come into your world and tell you how to be, because they also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to get upset, but I do sometimes when I feel like, you know, because the people that are doing this to you, they're doing it because they are not brave enough to do it themselves. And so, yeah, I'm sticking up for you a little bit, because I'm just like, take this off your mouth. I mean, the first card you picked was a vulture. So, you know, it could also mean that you guys are dealing with death energy. Like, you could be that energy where you're meant to go into people's life because, you know, do you ever hear they're called death eaters? I want you to research that. Now, that message isn't going to resonate for everybody, but I feel like for all of you in this pile, you have a reason. Like, what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even need to explain any further on that one. So let's see, what other cards? Did you want to say anything else, Spirit, about that? Just about how, it's time for you to go from, it's good to like be in your head, right? And be with spirit and being la la land and all that. That's lovely. Trust me. I love it. I'm on cannabis, for pretty much all day from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed. And I love it. And I love playing and all that. But also at some point, you got to hit back ground. See how they're making a landing right there? So it's very important for you to get grounded. That's why they had me move the card from here into this moss. It's time to get grounded. And whether you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere, it's still, the weather is nice. It's nice enough to get outside. It may not be today, but maybe tomorrow's going to be a really good day. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and spring for us is like, spring's like this for a lot of places, but definitely for us. It's like all day long. It's like hail, then sunny, and then it's like storming. Then we just got a thing for a snow because we're in the Mount Rainier Valley. I just got a snow warning for tomorrow night. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? It was like in the 70s the other day. It was so beautiful. And my husband and I like went for a walk, and we got out to the beach, and it was just so nice. And I took my shoes off. I was like, actually I didn't take my shoes off, but I put my hands, I was like touching the earth and feeling it. I normally like to take my shoes off, but I didn't feel comfortable doing it that day. There was so many people out. Anyway, but you hear what I'm saying? Grounding, ground. Take your shoes off. Take your shoes and socks off and walk around where it's safe, of course. Don't go walking around some park where, junkies hang out and I want you stepping on a needle. But you know what I mean? Go somewhere that's safe. And I'm going to tell you something. I love to hike deep into the woods where there's not a lot of people. And I like to go off of the trail and take my shoes and socks off. You would be surprised how comfortable that is. It sounds crazy, right? But it's not. So get grounded. The next one, oh, I love this card. This was the only card I saw actually, and I was so excited. I wanted this to be, I was like, oh, is that going to be their representation card? They're like, no. But Ancient Wing, look at you, right? Like you're so old and powerful. And it says, dare to be the first, dare to be different. Yeah, there must be some idea or something that you guys really want to do that you've wanted to do for a long time. It could even be something from when you were a kid, in the 70s or the 80s. It could be any time, of course, but I was going back to Creature and I heard 1979. So there's something there, right? There's something going on. And the fact that you got Ancient Wing, it makes me laugh so hard because my friends and I used to have this silly little thing and we'd be like, pterodactyl. So every time I see pterodactyls, it just makes me laugh. But maybe that's what you need too, is to hang out with some, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, all of the above, maybe you need to, because look at this. Isn't it interesting how it's like, here's you over here by yourself, but look at, it looks like one of my other favorite dinosaurs. I can't think of the name, Brontosaurus, I think. And it's like, they've got birds here. We've got, it's like, this is like a community, and I feel like they're going this way and you're going that way. Let's find out what they want to say to you about that. Okay, Ancient Wing. I want to go down a little bit on that one too. It says 150 million years ago, Archaeopteryx, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Greek for ancient wing, first glided beneath Earth's primeval skies. I wonder if they're American or not American, but I wonder if they speak English. It's just interesting. I wish you can, well, I guess you could see it, but anyway, sorry. It's just so interesting to me the way this person writes, It feels like they're translating it from another language, or maybe it's me. I don't know what's going on. So it says, clothed in feathers of vivid hue, the first bird to grace the earth, Ancient Wing was dinosaur transformed and 50 million years in the making. Now her kind have populated all of Earth, for Ancient Wing was the genesis of birddom. Oh, see, you guys, old medicine, man. In life, as an evolution, someone must be the first to invent the extraordinary, to see hitherto undreamed of connections. I don't know what that is. To understand exactly what is needed. In evolution, ancient Wing dared to be different, to be the first, and now she advocates that you do the same. Keep your own counsel and not be swayed by the comments of others. She further reminds you that history tells of many whose brilliance was mocked and discarded, only for them to be crowned with the laurel leaves of victory later. Yes. Yes, I love that so much. I love that so much because it's so true. So there's something you guys want to do that's out of the box, maybe out of the ordinary, not anything that you would normally do, right? Like, look at Creature. I mean, do you think this lady, do you think she ever thought that that would be her legacy? But it is. So don't judge a book by its cover. Don't look at, who cares what anybody else is doing? Who cares? Just focus on yourself, focus on what you love and what makes you happy. That is what's important right now. Okay, and so our last card is the Bird of Paradise. Look at that, cool. They're both beautiful. And it says, Bird of Paradise, display yourself to advantage. This is no time for false modesty. Exactly. See how he's sticking out? Like that yellow bird's kind of like blending into the background. The only thing that kind of sticks out is the black on their head. But look at the Bird of Paradise is like, look at me, look at my beautiful hair. Yeah, it could even be that maybe you're wanting to have a whole new look. Maybe you're wanting something completely different, something you would never ever do for yourself. I'm just feeling like modesty. Yeah, thank you, Spirit. I was trying to figure out the emotion I was feeling. And I feel this modesty that Spirit's is so silly because you don't need the modesty. Think about it. If you're a bird of paradise, why, it's you can't really hide who you are. Look at their cute little things on their head. All right, so number 52. Let's get in there. Let's get in there and talk to that little bird of paradise. Okay. It says, Paradise dances for the future, for the chance of immortality. His stage, the New Guinea forest floor, its perimeter carefully delineated, its luscious red-brown earth cleared of twigs and leaves. That's one sentence. Yes, I have no idea. Okay, maybe I'm just reading it wrong. Paradise's audience arrive, but will they stay? Rivals abound. Will they dance more fetchingly than he? Paradise inspects his stage for perfection before running from side to side, calling loudly to his admirers. Once more, he checks his stage for imaginary leaves, and finally, his much-desired dance begins. Paradise waltzes, his long, swishy feathers creating a skirt of whirling iridescence. Halting abruptly, Paradise twirls his head, and his crown of streaming pennant feathers becomes a blur. Suddenly, he leaps atop an admirer. Immortality is his. If Paradise has danced into your cards, he counsels that to trounce the rivals who snap at your heels in love or life, you must display yourself to greatest advantage. There is no time for false modesty. Yeah, so, think about that for a second. That's what I'm getting too, is whoever these people are, again, they just don't have the fucking balls. I'm just going to be real and I'm just going to be honest. I know what it's like to have people hate you just for being yourself. I 100% understand. It's different for all of us, but I understand what that feels like. I understand that dismissiveness, right? When you're trying to be yourself. Sorry, I'm trying to put my heater out. When you're just trying to be yourself, your best self at that, right? And someone's telling you that you're not good enough or you're not worthy. Well, Spirit's telling you, yes, you are. You wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be part of this tribe if you didn't have something to say, something to give, and something to do here. So look up mandalas. I love these mandala coloring books. I actually got them at the dollar store when I was at my lowest point. I had no money. I had nothing. And I took $5 and I went to the dollar store because one of my shamans at the time was You need to bring color back into your life. And I didn't really understand what she meant until I started coloring again. So even just doing something as mundane as coloring, it's really not when you think about it. And the mandalas allow you to, create it any way you see it. And so I bought like these two coloring books, the mandalas, and I bought like 2 or 3 packs of different colored pens. And it changed everything for me. So even if it's just starting there, just start with something colorful. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's drawing. Maybe you don't need coloring books at all. Maybe you already have the supplies at home. Do it. Maybe you go into your kids' room and grab their crayons. Play with crayons. I don't care how you do it. Just do it. Especially for those of you who celebrate Easter with your kids, get jiggy with it. You know what I mean? Like, have fun, make colorful eggs, plant, have fun putting your kids, making an Easter egg hunt, I mean, that's Ostara, man. The Christians got that from the pagans. That was just a beautiful, I don't remember if it was part of May Day or not, but anyway, I believe those are your messages. Is there anything else, Spirit? We do have, I wanted to see, are there any more clarifiers or anything else? Any last words of wisdom that you'd like to give pile number 1 for their taking action? Oh, 2 at a time, 3 at a time. Let's see. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Oh, the ostrich. Oh, isn't that just perfect for you guys right now? Magic remains even while you ground yourself and be practical. So maybe for some of you, because if you've noticed, now we have, I'm going to put this here. Thanks, creature. I'm going to come back a little bit. But do you notice how all of the cards have multiple birds in them except for the first one, which was the bearded vulture? So the ostrich says magic remains even while you ground yourself and be practical. So maybe for some of you, it's time for you. The literary witches is kind of picking its head over here. So maybe for some of you, it's time to go inward and write. Or maybe it's time to be alone or spend more time alone. Look there's a mountain there. This kind of felt mountainous too to me. So we've got mountains here. There's a mountain in the background here. This kind of feels more like, deserty. So I kind of feel like over here is like more desert. This is more mountains. It's like whatever you need to do. I don't see water unless you're pulled to that. But, we've got flowers and color and the mandala. Use the rest of this month to really plant those seeds. Go back, look at it. What is it? What is your, everybody's got a dream. What's your dream? What's your dream? No dream is too big. Keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And I just when I was about to give up the other day on something I've been working on, because, I've been working on certain things for like months on end, and I'm just like, why isn't this happening? Or why isn't this coming? I'm like, come on, man, like, cut me a break. Like, I'm starting to feel like I'm losing it, And then just when I was about to give up, Spirit sent me like all these messages almost all at once. It was so wild. It was this project I'd been working on, and then they said, now read them all together. And I read everything together, and I just started bawling because I was like, holy shit. It was like right in front of my face the whole time. And a lot of times that's exactly where it is, right in front of your face. So until next time, you guys, all of my information is in the description box below, and I will see you at the next reading. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome, pile number 2. So we are in the first quarter moon energy. We're talking about setting intentions. You're the first pile that Spirit had me pull in some crystals and stones. So we've got a nice big amethyst over here. We've got an apopholite. And over here we have a mixture, but I'm not sure exactly what they are. So if you know what it is, that's awesome. If not, I used to be so good. I don't know, over the years I guess because I don't do it all the time. It was like when I first came into my awakening, I worked with crystals all the time. And now I use them and I work with them, but not the way I used to. Anyway, pile number 2. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So you chose this feather. I love this because it's all about duality, right? I mean, I feel like I want to bring this one forward. You've got almost equal parts black and white there, which says a lot. And we also have this bird here, which we're going to get to later on. But I'm feeling like Spirit wants me to pull a card right out the gate. Okay, so your first card is the Western Bluebird. Lend a helping hand and never forget that spring will return. Look at that. Oh my gosh, they got a little bird there for you too. Western Bluebird. Okay, so I'm going to read from the book. And it says, Bluebird sings happily as fall turns to chilly winter. His daughters have flown the nest, and his sons have paired with plump, chestnut-breasted loves from faraway forests. And now this small community face winter as one, dining on romantic mistletoe berries and snuggling together at night. In spring, those of Bluebird's sons who were fortunate in the lottery of love fly with their partners to territories new. Those whom Cupid forgot to visit stay in the family home, and when their parents' eggs hatch, they join in the roisterous celebration of new life by bringing fat insects to the wide-open beaks of their squawking relatives. If, like Bluebird, you find yourself alone, lend a hand to those in need. Help friends or create life by caring for the natural world. And meanwhile, like Bluebird, be happy knowing that spring will arrive again, and with it, new possibilities. That's interesting. That's what I was going to say. Spirit had me put those there as representations of eggs, but these are like many eggs, right? It's not just one egg. It's like many, 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 many eggs. And we'll get to that as this unfolds. So that's really beautiful. Okay. Ooh, I just got the chills. Lend a helping hand. Spirit, do you want me to keep going? Or do you want... Yeah, okay. Oh, the raven. Listen to your intuition to receive a message from the world of spirit or a friend. So if Spirit's giving you this message, but you're like, well, I don't know anybody like that, or I don't, blah, blah, blah. It's like Spirit saying, don't concern yourself about that, because you're going to find I heard, don't worry, they'll find you. Or if not, if you are feeling this way, like let's just say like your work is really good and financially everything feels good, but there's like something missing, like you don't have a partner or kids, and you're like, I want to do something extra. Or maybe you do have a partner and kids, but you want to do something extra. Call out into, the spirit world and meditation. Ask Spirit to send you signs, a vision, a picture, a name, something that you'll know exactly what to do when it comes for you, Let's read what the raven has to say. Before I read the raven, I wanted to let you know that it's on page 56, which is also the number 11. So I'm getting that you guys are angels, like that this is what you guys do, like you swoop in and you help people, or maybe you used to and you don't anymore. And maybe you're sending money to charity, and that's wonderful in that, but you feel like you want to like be hands-on, right? Like grassroots, like you want to get in there, you want to help people because that makes you feel good too. There's nothing wrong with feeling good for helping people as long as it's for a good intention, right? It's not that you're like overstepping, getting involved in someone's life just because you're bored, There's a big difference between that. So the raven says, black, glossy, magical magician raven swoops on wings of 4-foot span, serving mighty Odin as memory and thought. Eyes and ears from which no mere mortal may hide. If raven's mighty caw has sounded as you dream, his wings beat above you as you walk, or he appears in your cards, he brings you a message from the spirit realm. Note carefully the portents that surround him. He comes to alert you that the time is ripe to discover the enchanter within and the miraculous power of self-transformation. Hark, too, to your unbidden thoughts. For Raven also comes to wake you to the power of telepathy. He counsels that if the voice of a friend crosses across the landscape of your mind, this is the moment to contact them. Yes, so if you're a telepath, if you're that person, you're like, oh my gosh, I like think about somebody and they call me, or vice versa, right? Somebody's like, dude, I was like totally thinking about you. I can't believe you just called me. That's a ooh, I'm getting the chills. Like that is your intuition. You have that gift. If you chose pile 2, if you chose this, that means that you're like the Fool card in the tarot, the 0, right? You walk in all worlds. That's why you chose this feather, because it's half light, half dark, and that's you guys. It's like how to be in this beautiful, glorious, giving stage, and you also know how to be, strong and fierce going into shadow self, working. I feel really good about you guys. Like when I saw the eggs, when they had me put this together and put the bird in the nest and bring the flowers down and everything, I just felt like this newness, like it's time for you to do something brand new, or even starting your own charity. Or I've spoke about this before, where a lot of people make lunches and then they go and hand them out to homeless people. So if like you live in an area, I used to walk back and forth at this one homeless encampment, and this was like almost 20 years ago. So it's not like it's gotten any better. It's gotten worse. But I remember when I lived in LA, and I used to walk back and forth, and I was telling my friend Robbie about it. And I was just like, what can we do or whatever? And he's like, well, let's make them food. He's like, I do it all the time. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then it just became like this cool thing. I was like, wow, I never thought to do this. So, you don't have to have a lot of money to do it. You can, get some peanut butter. Try and get organic. I always try to say to people, don't give them crappy food. Just because they're on the street doesn't, it's like they eat what they can, but I'm sure they'd rather eat healthy if they could. So, maybe pack up some celery and carrots, and chop them up and, put them in, wrap them up in, whatever. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's you don't even know the gratification. And most of the time people are like, thank you so much, I'm so hungry, thank you, thank you. And I've had people who were rude, and I still gave it to him anyway. I had one guy who was like, what's in there? And I didn't tell him this, but I had put $1 in each one. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I did it. So anyway, long story short, he said, what's in there? And I said, oh, I made sandwiches, and it was Christmas actually. And I said, and I got Christmas candy, and I was, and he goes, nah, forget it, I don't want it. And I was going to insist he take it, but then I thought, no, you know what? You don't want it, you don't have to have it. And so I didn't give it to him. And then at the very, very end, there was this man who had never been homeless in his life, was recently homeless. It was his first Christmas on the street, and that no one had talked to him really all day. Like they were like giving him money and stuff, and like these sad, like, whatever. But I was like, hey man, would you like a lunch? And I sat there and talked to him while he ate the sandwich, and the $1, he started crying, and I was like, oh dude, and that made my whole day. And I'm glad that I didn't give it to that other guy. It's not that he didn't deserve it, but the one at the end, he really deserved it because he wanted it. He was like, this is awful for me. The other guy, I got the vibe he'd been homeless forever. You know what I mean? And that was his choice, and that's fine. But this guy, it's like it changed his whole world. And he told me, he's like, this is the only present that I got today. So he's like, thank you. And it's just like, and I hugged him. I'm trying not to cry. I'm like, but because I remember it was just really special. So maybe it's time for you guys to give back. Do something like that. Start a soup kitchen in your area. Go to a local church, go to a local community center and see what they're doing. See if you can volunteer. You have no idea how much this can change your life, invigorate your senses on every level, and just put a skip back in your step. So yeah, that's really beautiful. Okay, Spirit, I know we have more cards, but which one do we want to go to next? Okay. Ooh, Blackbird. Interesting that you got the Blackbird and the Raven. Talk about the dark side. Open to psychic awareness to recognize portents of the future. That one, did you just not hear? That's what it said in the last card, the portents of the future. So clearly, I mean, not to knock the birdie out, but clearly you guys have some serious, intuition, telepathy, gifts. That's a candle, but I wanted it to be there. Yes, you can see it on the Raven. I mean, come on. This is like, I feel like you guys need to like read Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Have you ever heard of that? So research it, look it up. Maybe it's just that now it's making me want to. I think I'm going to have to do that. If you guys don't know, I started a new channel called the Poetic Prophet. There's a link in the description box below, and my recommendations and stuff. It's really fun. I've been recording lots of stuff, and Spirit's having me, put it up when I can. But that just made me realize, I'm like, maybe I should read that, because there's something about the drama of it. And I don't want to say too much if you've never read the poem, so I'm going to leave that there. But I'm definitely going to read from the Blackbird. Hold on. Okay. Blackbird, so mellifluous and heart-wrenching his song, so magically melodious his tune at twilight, that the Celts named him Black Druid. For Blackbird sings as the solar energy of conscious action gives way to the lunar energy of unconscious desire, and the borders between worlds dissolve. Exactly. Like I was saying, like the Fool card, right? That's why the Fool is a 0, because they can go anywhere. You guys have no boundaries. You can go anywhere you want to go. I'm sure you already do. You probably astral travel. That's what I meant, like through your mind, I'm sure you guys already are like telepaths and all, like, those things. In fact, when someone comes to my mind, especially if it's somebody who we've had a negative interaction, the first thing I try to automatically think is, I love you. I love you. I love you so much, because I don't want my brain to go to the negative of what it was. I want my brain to go to the positive, because at one point our relationship was good, right? So I'm kind of getting that from Spirit too. So when somebody comes into your mind, don't be like, oh, that beast, that villain, Remember that we all play a villain in somebody's story. We all do, right? Even if you think you're doing the best thing you've ever done for yourself or somebody else may not agree with you. So, it's like the fact that it's like you walk both worlds, right? Between the light and the dark. I mean, that's so, 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 so powerful. I was like, I want that to go back up. They're like, no, but do you see, like here, it's like even in the mandalas in the background, it's like we've got the light and the dark. Now also the moon energy, I want to bring that in as well. I feel like we're kind of done talking about that other thing, so I feel like they want me to bring the... Yeah, look at that. I love when, if you keep trying to do something, that's a perfect example if you're going through that. If you keep trying to do something and it's not working out, Spirit's saying, stop trying to make it. That's why they have me bring in so many. This is a very beautiful light-colored amethyst. There is some fairy glitter on it. And then this is a dark amethyst. And it's just, hello. This is so powerful. You guys are really, really, really powerful. Okay, so let's get back to it. Your lullaby, as you drowse at summer's warm dusk, your companion in contemplation at winter's revitalizing chill, Blackbird's fluting tone is a magic charm. A charm which alters consciousness so that you may experience the truths and messages of the other world. It also allows you and your dreams and their happenings to be portents of your future. If Blackbird announces his tuneful arrival into your cards today, pay heed to your intuitions and allow yourself to relax into magic daydreams where the future is revealed. Meander through nature at sunset and let your thoughts wander where they will. Blackbird is ready to open the door to your psychic self if only you will let him. So listen, today's message is about taking action. So I'm getting this vibe from Spirit, like they're not fucking around. They're like, this is it. This is your call. This is your call to Spirit. This is your call to action from Spirit right now, right in this second, right in this moment. That for you to take action is for you to literally start working with your magic and practicing. And you can even call a friend who is like you and say, hey, can we, or even if they're not, Spirit said, gosh, I forget the name of the cards. If anybody knows, please put it in the description box below. If I think about it, I remember, I will find it and put it in the cute little, I put in the description box. I always put recommendations from the reading kind of thing. But they're cards. They're like tarot cards. In fact, I think they're definitely a form of divination cards, but they have like a star on them, like water. If you've never seen the movie The Gift with actually Keanu Reeves plays a bad guy in that, and it's the only movie I don't like him in because he's so good that I'm like, no, he's awful. Cate Blanchett, and it's a really cool movie. It's called The Gift. If you've never seen it, I highly, highly, highly recommend you watch it, find it. It is powerful. But those cards would be really good for you. So you can have somebody and just say, can you just, they're like flashcards. And you can do them with any flashcards. I mean, seriously, at home, you can take pieces of paper, as long as you can't see through it, you know what I mean? And like draw symbols and say to somebody, can you test me, you know? And you'll get better at it, but don't think about it too much. Because, you know, if you think about it too much, you're going to overthink it. You got to just be like, bam, the first thing that comes to your mind. Another one that did something like that is Dee from Consciousness Evolution. And she, I don't even know how long ago it was. It feels like years ago, but it could have been last year. But she did something like that where she did like a test. And it was cool to see people's things at the bottom. And so, when I looked down, it was 444. So 444, if that means anything to you guys, it's also the number 12 and the number 3. But so many people said, oh, I was going to pick that. I knew it was that one. I knew it was that one. Why did I doubt myself? And that's the thing. It's like, because you have to keep practicing till you don't doubt yourself anymore. I have been doing this. I have been practicing, even though I've been like this my entire life, my soul, wherever I come from, you know what I mean? It's like I've always been this. It's taken me a while to really wake up to it again and come clear on it. And, you know, yesterday I was working with one of our tribe members' children who's so powerful, and she's 9. And I had this moment where I said to her mom, I'm like, I don't know how to explain this, or I don't know how to, and I didn't realize how challenging it was to communicate. And then I realized I was the one that was making it challenging. She goes, what does Spirit want you to say? And I was like, it just seems so adult. She goes, she can handle it. You know, she's like, don't underestimate her. And so I was like, okay, you know, because my mind's like, she's a child. I want to protect her. I want to, you know, but it was really impactful. And it made me realize, like, you know, I still second guess myself too, even though Spirit's putting it right in front of my face. You know, I mean, it's like, I used to, before I was awake, I remember I used to be cocky and I'd say things like, I'm always right. I hate that I'm always right, but you know, I'm always right, you know? And now I'm like, now I'm at that point. I still say that sometimes, but it's like, so I'm like, damn it, I'm right. I wish I was wrong. You know what I mean? Like I'll say to people, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. You know, and then they'll come back to me a few months later like, dude, you were so right. And I'm like, I know. It sucks. But at the same time, that's your gift. That's what you were put here to do. If not, it's like, why else would you have these gifts? So Spirit's saying, please stop second guessing yourself, because what's getting you into quote unquote trouble and why you're depressed or feeling like shit or you're feeling alone or whatever. Because I mean, look they're both loners. But the interesting thing is they're both looking this way, and this one's got their mouth open. Let me go in a little bit, right? It's like the blackbird's got their mouth open. Oh, Spirit's like, go down. Oh, it looks so cool. Right? And the ravens got their mouth closed because the blackbird, even though they're really powerful, they're a little bit smaller, right? So let's just say, I know that their mouth is open because they're singing, and I love that. And if that resonates with you, sing your freaking heart out. You can still be a telepath, an empath, intuitive, you know what I mean? And still sing and be a vocalist. Trust me, that's what I've been working on. And speak your truth. I mean, their mouth is open for a reason, right? But I also feel like, you know, or, you know, you could be like, but the voices are moving in your head, and Spirit's like, whoosh, concentrate, look at the moon. See, because the raven's very sure of themselves. Do you see how completely beautiful and like calm they are? Where the blackbird is calm, but they, you know, they still got their mouth open. Spirit's saying, you know, this is where you are, and this is where you need to be. Your next card is the pheasant. Oh, I love this card. Pheasants are so beautiful, and they have so much personality. I love them. That's why I became vegan, because I got to know, working and living on these farms for the last like 5 years, it's like, I can't. I'm like, I can't eat them because they're all so amazing. Anyway, if you do, I'm not shaming you. I'm just saying for myself, working with Spirit. And if you feel that too, that could be why. You know, it might be that it's time for you to change your diet. So it says, adapt to place and circumstance to discover happiness and contentment. Also, you know, I've been doing these moon readings for a while. And if you've been following them, I get the vibe from Spirit that, you know, there's a reason why, because you're meant to work with the moon energies too. So if you haven't been, you need to now. I don't know where this guy wants to. I feel like he wants to go back here. Oh, he does. How cute. I was like, I don't know where you want to go, buddy. Because they're like, it doesn't matter. They're like, it doesn't matter. Hold on. And did you hear that medicine from the pheasant? It doesn't matter, right? They're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you're gonna fuck up. You know, I did readings for people at the beginning, you know, and some people I've even apologized to now because I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry if I, you know, they're like, that's okay. Like, they all knew it though. I mean, you know, as long as people know, it's one thing if you start a business right out the gate and you're like advertising and you've done like 2 readings or something. It's like, I did a lot of readings for free or just by donation for the first year or 2, you know, and I just got stronger and stronger and stronger. But I made a lot of mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes. And so they're saying, don't sweat the small stuff because everything happens for a reason. So the pheasant says, gaudy denizen of the exotic East and of Manchuria and Georgia, Java and Korea, traveled to Greece and then ancient Rome before settling in England, a land of plenty, rich in yellow-grained fields and bright berried bushes. This is the pheasant. A pheasant has strutted proudly into your cards today, crowing raucously. His counsel is that you adapt to place and circumstance. Pheasant was once a stranger in a strange land, but is now so perfectly adapted to England's countryside that few dreamed that he was ever begotten in such mysterious and remote lands, and none can now imagine its landscape without him. If, like pheasant, you find yourself in foreign realms with unfamiliar customs, be like pheasant, utterly yourself, while absorbing every detail about your new home. With knowledge comes ease, with familiarity, happiness. Pheasant is welcome in the 4 corners of the globe, and so will you be. Also, you know what I heard, you guys? This was really powerful. I heard this from Spirit. This is kind of like the metaphor for you guys, right? If the group or the family, the work, wherever you live, whatever, if it's not jiving with you, you're not the issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you need to remove yourself from the situation. Because, I mean, even now, it's like, I think today, as of today, we have 268 subscribers. But it's so cool how different everybody is and how we have people from all over the world. You know, I used to feel bad because I was just like, why aren't my numbers growing and blah, blah, blah. And Spirit was like, it will happen when it's meant to happen. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. And I still have those moments where I'm like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not strong enough. You know, I see other readers and I'm like, I'm just as strong and powerful. Why isn't it happening for me? You know, and Spirit's like, because it's not your time. This is where you're supposed to be right now. So I feel like it's the same for you guys, you know, and the adapting to a strange land is you adapting to your gifts. And your landscape will change and your friends will change. Over the last decade, almost every single solitary thing in my life has changed or completely evaporated from my life. From my family, my friends, from the places that I lived. You know, I mean, I had to change. Everything around me had to change in order for me to become who I was meant to be. And it's the same for you. And it's like, I feel like they're singing that song, put one foot in front of the other. You know, they're like, you can do this, you can do this. The pheasant is like calling to you. They're like, you got this, you got this, you got this. What was the other part, Spirit? Yeah, like, you won't even recognize your world, and you'll be like, how did I ever live without like my world the way it is now? I'm talking to them. So it's also on page number 37, which is the number 10, which is about completion. And I feel like for you guys, everything's going to fall into place and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I get it. This is why everything was supposed to happen this way. Oh, sorry. We already saw that one. But in the meantime, you know, you can still lend a helping hand. Let's see if they want us like to, because I feel like there are some people in your life, like maybe you have kids or family members or certain people that, you know, need you. But like what did you say? Oh, because they were showing, because the bird was going this way. like walking away from like the situation. So I'm getting from spirit, like for some of you, yeah, like you're gonna have to walk away from your parents, your family, you know what I mean? It's hard. I've done it. It sucks. It's like one of the worst feelings in the entire world. But it's also made me stronger, because I was like, you know what? You can't be in my world. You can't be in my orbit if you don't accept all of me, the light and the dark. It's like they just wanted my light. They didn't, you know, or people would ask me for my help, but then they didn't want the answers. And I'm like, well, then why did you ask me? You know, and then make me feel bad and make me feel guilty for telling them the truth that they already knew themselves. The next card is the Carmine Bee Eater. Cool. Never heard of that. Look at the birds on their back. Another community card. Flourish by asking for the help of the powerful. Yes, don't be afraid to ask. You know, because look in this situation. They're like, I need help. Like, you have to feed me. And Spirit's like, no, you do not. Not when you have powerful people at your back. You know, now look, this bird, this bird, this bird. They're all moving forward. Don't look back. Don't look back. Looking back is what keeps getting you in trouble, Spirit's saying. And you know what they mean for some of you. Okay, so what was this one called? The bee something? The bee eater? I'll be right back. The carmine bee eater catches her prey on the wing as she cruises above Africa's insect-rich grasslands. But frustratingly, many insects, such as energy-rich grasshopper and bee, never leave the safety of their grassy homes. What to do? Why seek help from the large, the strong, and the powerful? Oh, why not seek help from the large, the strong, and the powerful? Hitch a ride on stately Cory, bustard, zebra, or even camel. Now, not only does Bee Eater have no need to expend energy on flying, but the heavy footfall of her fleshly carriages also disturbs these grass-dwelling insects who fly upward straight into Bee Eater's waiting beak. If Bee Eater has ridden into your cards, she counsels you not to struggle in vain, but instead not only to accept help when it's offered, but also to ask for the assistance of those more powerful than yourself. Why be foolishly proud? Like Bee Eater, you could thrive. I'm sorry, this person's writing. I'm just going to let you look at it. I'm like, is it me? I don't know if it's, I struggled in the other pile too. But what I get from this is they're saying, yeah, like, why make it harder for yourself? You know, you don't have to be a loner. You don't have to do it all alone. There are other people who are willing to help you. And don't be so proud. It's like, even if you've been practicing, just because I've been practicing forever, you think I don't seek counsel? Of course I do. Of course I do. It's like, that's part of it. We all have to. That's like therapists. A lot of therapists actually, you know, see other therapists because they need someone to talk to. We all need someone to talk to. And look at this, the parrot, the bird that talks, right? Think laterally to solve a problem. Interesting. And another solo bird. And I'm feeling, because of the yellow, I'm going to put them there. And let's see, Spirit, do we want to pull any more cards from this? Do we want to pull any more cards from this batch? Okay. Let me check and see if they want us to read from the book. Yes, the macaw would like to speak. And they also want to go down in the color a little bit, I think. Is that what you said? No? Okay. Okay, so it says, macaw lives in the tropical heat of Amazonia, dining on the rich seeds found in its fecund forests. Her hard, hooked bill is a masterpiece of engineering designed to crack even the hardest shell. Knowing this, some seeds protect themselves from macaw by covering themselves with repulsive, indigestible toxins. Other birds leave this potential bounty alone, but macaw is cleverer than they and thinks laterally to solve her problem. Having dined lavishly, macaw flies to steep banks of terracotta clay and consumes by the beakful this mineral-rich natural medicine, which also safely absorbs the seed's virulent stomach ache-producing defense. If macaw has arrived squawking into your cards today, it's time to reconsider the seemingly insoluble. She counsels that your problem may be overcome by abandoning preconceptions and thinking outside convention. So, be like macaw and take a sideways leap. Yes, you are looking at this from a 3D lens. You cannot move forward and be like, I'm a light worker and I'm blah, 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 and I'm all these things, whatever. But you're still living in a world that does not suit you, that doesn't belong to you. Look at this little egg over here. See this little egg under the bird right there under their bum? I feel like this is what Spirit wants you to see, that you've got like all these like little, you know, what'd you say? I just heard grab another one, right? It's like you have all these little eggs, these little speckled eggs under there that are just waiting to hatch. But you have got to let yourself grow. The baby cannot stay in the shell, right? It has to eventually come out. So I'm getting that from them too. They're giving you a little bit of tough love just because, you know, it's time. Oh my gosh, this doesn't surprise me, especially in our group. So many of us are hummingbird energy. Ruby-throated hummingbird. Take courage and the world will reward you with bounty. Believe in the impossible. Believe that anything can happen. Believe it. You must believe it. I didn't understand why they wanted all these colors to come in, and now I do. It's so pretty. I love when Spirit makes it. These are like my coloring books and stuff. I was just like, what do you want me to do with this? But I love it. Yes, because you are like this hummingbird. And you know what's really cool is I actually saw a hummingbird today. When I went to let the chickens out earlier, I went to go visit the garden, and I saw a hummingbird. She went flying past my face, and I was like, hey, by the way, I also, the other thing Spirit wanted me to mention before that kind of was like in my mind and then left my mind was that all of the cards up until the macaw were masculine. And now we are going into, now we have 2 feminine cards. So it's very interesting. It's like they're talking about finding that balance between your divine feminine and your divine masculine, but calling on that divine masculine when you're like, listen, I need help. Like I'm feeling weak or meek or whatever it is, like that you can't be yourself. You know, maybe you're flying so fast like the hummingbird, you're flying so fast that they can't even see you. And Spirit's saying, yeah, but they need to see you. You need to be seen. It's like you're like in and out, in and out, in and out. And they're like, nope, you need to stay out. You know, no more like, oh, one day you're this and the next. They're like, no, you have to stay who you are. You can't talk the talk and not walk the walk. It has to be every day, all the time. And if the people in your life aren't liking it, then I'm sorry, you know the answer to that. A little tough love there. So it says, when chill winter approaches tiny hummingbird's eastern seaboard home, she does not stay, fluff her feathers, and complain of dwindling nectar. Instead, her heart beating 500 times a minute, she makes a nonstop 500-mile crossing of the Gulf of Mexico, flying above and between its truly fearsome waves, her reward to flourish on the nectar of 1,000,000 glorious blossoms and to add to the bounty of life by pollinating them. It is so human to stay in unfruitful situations and uncongenial places out of fear, when in our heart we know change is needed. Not making a decision is a decision in itself, a decision to stay, to put up with it, whatever it is. If months, even years of your life are passing by in futile complaint, then tiny hummingbird, she comes in and weighs in but 1/10 of an ounce, says to you, she's coming in to set a courageous example. Consider her wisdom and make it your own. I'm sorry, while I was reading, Spirit started tickling my finger with one of the feathers that were next to me. That was so freaky, but kind of cool too. So yeah, like powerful, right? Wherever 2 or more gather. This is not a joke that you're here. Oh my gosh. And I believe this is your last card because I don't know how it gets any better than this. The bald eagle. What? And if you know about the bald eagle and Native American medicine, it is spirit incarnate. So from a strong foundation, you may build anything. You may build anything with a strong foundation. And let's hear what the eagle has to say. The bald eagle. The bald eagle, majestic predator of wide blue skies, is feathered power incarnate. 7,000 feathers cover her mighty body, their magic allowing her to soar, so near the mystic that Native American Indians recognize her as a symbol of divinity. What did I say? Sky Dancer Supreme at 10,000 feet, Eagle locks talons with her lifelong mate, and together they cartwheel spectacularly toward earth and sea, only breaking free seconds away from impact. If Eagle has whirled into your cards, she speaks to you not of power, but of the foundation on which it is built. The foundation from which she came and which she in turn will give to her chicks is a great nest, which may stretch upward to 20 feet and reach 9 feet wide, a nest that any chick will feel safe in. She counsels that you too prepare diligently for the challenges ahead and provide them for others that you love, for from secure beginnings everything is possible. And that, my friends, are your messages. I love you so much, you powerful, powerful creatures. All of my information is in the description box below. And until our next reading, blessed be. Oh, bye-bye. Welcome, pile number 3. So goodbye, yellow brick road, where the dogs of society howl. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Ba 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 ba. So if that song is calling to you, oh my gosh, it was like as I was starting to put your stuff together, I just heard, you know, that, and yeah, and then yeah, you know that song. So without further ado, let's see if Spirit wants to pull any cards first, or do we have any messages that want to come through first, Spirit? Any messages that want to come through? Okay, so let's put the cards down for a second and let's see. Pile number 3, pile number 3, pile number 3. Goodbye, yellow brick road. That's so interesting. And that, I feel like I want to move this over here, like to bring the color into that coloring book, like to kind of even it out a little bit too. Also, this is honey calcite, fire agate, apopholite. We have a little bit of a smoky quartz over here that wanted to come in. These other ones I don't know for sure. Graphite is this one, but any of these other ones, if you know what they are. Oh, this is blue calcite. And these, some of these are agates. This one is not. I cannot remember what this one is. If you know, oops, let me know in the description box below. But yeah, I was feeling this kind of blue energy. Oh, look, it looks like a flower. They just had me kind of change it up. You see how it looks like a flower? That's what I'm hearing, is for you guys just to be creative. I feel like somehow in the last century, okay, I don't think you guys are old enough to be a century, but they're trying to say in the last century, so much has changed, and you guys are really old souls, and you're feeling very uncomfortable here. I'm just getting this vibe that, you know, Earth is not your home. You're definitely star seeds. I mean, I believe if you've made it to my channel and you're watching these readings, you are a light worker or a star seed anyway. But yeah, there's definitely some major power coming here. Also, I was called to bring this a little bit closer so you can get just a little bit better look at it. Let me bring that candle in so you can. This is from one of my favorite chickens, Henny Penny, and she's very, as they call it, sentient. So that's what I get from you guys too. Like angel realm vibes, like really strong angel realm. You know, it doesn't have to be a white feather all the time to be a representation of an angel. So little FYI there. Let me move this back. Okay. Any other messages, Spirit? Also, they're having me like, almost like you guys are uncomfortable, like you want things in like a perfect, you know, like, oh, this goes here, this goes here. So you guys must be, there must be some controlling issues that are happening here. So let's go into your cards and see what Spirit has to say about that. Okay, this one came right out. Okay. Oh, cute. That Iberian magpie, welcoming the unexpected, intrusive or undesirable, brings unlooked for benefits. So yeah, that's what I was getting to. Like, you guys like to control the situation all the time. And Spirit's saying, but what fun is that? Is it fun to actually know everything all the time? Isn't it more fun to be surprised? This is probably my pile, because I was like, you know, my mama used to always say, don't pray for patience. Don't do that. She's like, because God will show you what patience means. But you know, if you've been waiting, I'm hearing, you know, it's my one of our fellow magicians used to say, you know, when things were coming, when good things were coming, she'd say, you know, get out the fork because dessert's coming. And that's what I'm feeling like for you guys too. It's closer than you think is what Spirit's saying. It's closer than you think. And they keep I keep trying to move it this way and they're bringing my attention this way. So this must mean something for you guys. Also, let me see if I see it. Yep, right out the gate right there. Tiger's eye is another one that would be really beneficial for you guys to work with. Because, you know, spontaneity and welcoming the unexpected, it's like, isn't that the fun part, you know? I used to get so mad at my partner because I'd ask him to go to the store for me. And, you know, long story short, he'd bring the wrong thing home. And I'd get so mad because I'm like, oh, I hate returning things to the store. I'm like, we'll just give it to somebody or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then I'd hear from Spirit, you know, try it. You might